Is it some devil that crawls inside of you?
I did. I had like read Hunter S. Thompson's Hell's Angels book, which was like his big break, his first book and everything, and he literally hung out with him. And one of the things they had said was like new members to initiate him, they like grabbed a new pair of like Levi 505s, 501s or something. Yeah. And they used to just dunk them in like essentially a composting toilet and just like piss and shit and oil stains on them. And they had to wear them like completely and just not change them and not and just soak them in piss and stuff.
It's interesting what things are the initiation things.
I don't know if that actually happened though, because there's no way you couldn't. I get like bacterial infections from
this is not good.
Yeah, I look like I have an STD once a month just from sweating, because it's like just like bacteria, you know, like how the fuck could they get away with that and not just be like the scuzziest, grossest?
Sounds like a staph infection waiting to happen.
Exactly. Like they pulled pussy, man. They had the mamas. They had, Hell's Angels were fucking, there's old images. So there's no way they were all just like covered in shitty, pissy pants. But I definitely have some dirty jeans that I refuse to wash sometimes. Yes. And it's great.
Reveling in the motorcycle dream.
Yeah. It's like one little like, I love just like plucking little things out of like subcultures and just adding them to my like vest of flair, essentially.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's being a person, right? Like, we're exposed to different things, and we incorporate what things resonate with us.
Yeah, but like some people can be really homogenous and they're really like dull. And I guess you need those people, because then your vest of flair wouldn't be that interesting. It's a good contrast, but you're right. Hi, Sarah. How are you? Welcome to the Bad Etiquette Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, yeah,
Such
absolutely.
a pleasure.
Make sure this thing's going. Yeah, we're good. It is a fucking beautiful day. I'm so happy. One, this is like portable, and two, we get to do this outside.
Absolutely.
Love the place too. Seriously.
You. It's a lot of fun.
It is. It looks like a fucking. You could have a good party here.
I had a pretty bitchin' birthday party here recently.
Oh, really?
Not recently. Well, in November. We had a
That's pretty recent.
dessert potluck, and it was all champagne. So I got like a shit ton of champagne, and I like went to the thrift stores, got a bunch of crazy flutes, all the different glass flutes. And
shit!
Had a big champagne dessert potluck party.
You seem like a really fun and interesting person, but I have never seen you in Lompoc until last year at the bar. You were like a new bartender, and I was like, where are all my bartenders? Who the fuck is this?
Who's this crazy?
And, I remember getting carded by like a couple of you guys, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, oh, this is my place. I know. I was like, and where the hell did you come from?
Originally from Sacramento. So grew up in
Sacktown.
Sacktown, was there pretty much my whole life, and then I ended up moving to Lompoc in about 2016. Mm-hmm. So, but I've come and gone and moved and went back to Sacramento. I lived in Santa Maria for a little bit, and then, I've been in Lompoc since 2016, but kind of was a little bit of a recluse, just doing my own thing in my own groove. So working at the bar has definitely opened up so many social doors, and it's been freaking awesome.
Really?
I love it.
You know what? And you were such a social butterfly when there. I came in after work the other day. I was just like, had a miserable day, which is why I go to the bar after work. The only time is a miserable day. I need a big ass beer. And you were so cool, and you have like a cast of regulars sitting there at the bar, and you ask us such interesting questions. And I remember asking you to be on the podcast way before then, and like up until now I was thinking to myself, what a fucking great person to ask. Like, this is exactly the kind of person people should not be kissing your ass so much, but like just gotta build you up. You're my rock star right now.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah. And it was like, I forget what you ask, but you just ask everyone questions, and you entertain yourself so well and organically, and it doesn't come off like fake and cheesy. And
that's like probably one of my favorite things. One of my regulars, his name's Steve. He's this fantastic guy from the East Coast, old geezer dude. And whenever I start asking a question, he's all, here we go again. Like, he's all, Sarah with her questions.
What movie do I have to see before I die?
Right. And it's so fun. I mean, it's such an interesting way to break people's barriers down, to ask them questions that, just kind of make them think a little bit. And I'm just curious. I'm such a curious person.
Where did that come from? Not the curiosity, but like the approaching people with those questions. How did you learn that? Where'd that come from? Because it seems kind of obvious, and until you see someone do it, and you go, "Oh shit, I don't do that. I'm bad at that."
That's a good question.
You make it look easy, is what I'm saying.
That's a good question. I definitely would say it's kind of family culture. My family, we tend to have really deep, weird conversations about a lot of different things. My grandpa was super into asking questions and really wanted to get to know you as a person on an individual level.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe that's from him. But I've always even when I was really little, I like carried a notebook around and asked everybody their favorite color. And I was like documenting everyone's favorite color in this notebook. Like,
I see why you were a recluse. You sound annoying as hell.
Yeah. I was like, so what's your favorite color? And I'm like tallying it all down and
just getting profiles on people. Yeah. You're like, actually, I knew he was going to be a serial killer in 2009.
My data compilation has been complete, and the assessment is serial killer.
You ever ask someone enough questions and you go, oh, I wish I didn't start talking to you?
Oh, 100%. Oh, absolutely. And it's a little bit crazy because I'm curious about people, but then you get in there and then they're like, oh, they care about me. And obviously I care about people.
Gross.
I care about people, but you're all gross. But then, I don't know, sometimes I think you have to be a little bit careful with that. You don't want everyone, I don't know if that makes any sense.
It does. However, I think there is a difference in approach because I have the formidable benefit of being a guy. So like people getting weird with me, it's like, I'm just going to shove you out of my way. Where if people get weird with you, you're like, oh no, I just told this Nazi I like butt stuff. Now we're never going to fucking, you know what I mean? Like, it just depends on like what.
Yeah, no, and I think people aren't generally, how do I say this? People don't get asked questions a lot. And so you start talking to somebody and they open up and they feel intimate with you.
Yeah. I think that's also part of why I like the podcast is the like late night conversations you have with people where you really get to bond.
No.
Really has been eroded from society because everything is so digitized and social media is the form of communication that most people participate in. And this is very throwback, old school style of long form conversations that you wouldn't have otherwise. And it really formulates an interesting bubble that only exists conversation wise when we know we're being recorded, we know we're talking about something.
Right.
So there's an asterisk to like how we present ourselves.
Totally.
But there's also a championed like intimacy of like communicating where we know how to do that. We know how to not suck, I hope.
Hopefully.
Vice versa.
Hopefully. Yeah, it is. It's an interesting thing to be able to converse. And words are such an inadequate way of, it's the best we have until we sprout some Avatar tales, but it's the best way we have of communicating the experience that we're all going through. So it's just a trip.
How often do people fuck that up completely?
A lot.
Like the expression on my face, the tone of my voice, and the words that came out, those are three things that don't always collaborate well. They're not Motorhead, they're not Green Day. It's the trio that doesn't quite rock sometimes. And I fucking put my foot in my mouth. And it's like, damn it, I wasn't being like quirky enough when I said that lighthearted thing that could have been taken badly. And my tone was flat,
Perceptions. Yeah. And realizing that, do you find that your face gives you away? Or that you... Like when you say that, what do you mean? I'm more just kind of like referring to saying something and it coming off really shitty when I'm really just kind of making a joke or being lighthearted and or like when you're in a relationship with someone and you're like, fuck, they're mad at me for something they thought I meant and I didn't mean, and now I have to convince them with the same set of skills that fucked me up in the first place. Like they're not trusting you when you were trying to pull them out of the judgment zone. Yeah, intimate relationships and communication is definitely a trip.
But also just like even like social ones. Yeah. Okay. Questions. Wow. Yeah. How'd you end up working at the Sham? That's my local watering holes. My favorite place. I loved what it's turned into. It used to be like, I feel like I've gone through different seasons of a good TV show going there.
Totally.
You know, Cheers, whatever. And it was hard to be like, oh, they recasted everyone. All the bartenders are different. And now it's like, oh no, I love the second era or third era, depending on, you know, when you're coming in type of thing. And I'm just really happy you're there because, first of all, what better way to have a Sunday, right? Fucking beautiful day, getting to talk to someone, getting to know them.
Well,
so
thank you. Yeah. No, working at the Sham's been super awesome. I started working at the Sham in May of 2021, and I got connected with that kind of through a friend of a friend. I talked to the the manager, the owner, Ben. He's super awesome, and we just vibed really well, and he said that would be a good spot for me. But I wanted to work there for kind of a while, and I used to work for the city, so I used to work doing city planning, and So
you're to blame. You
yes.
Motherfucker.
Well, I could talk about that a lot. There's a lot to say about the city planning stuff. But working at the Sham, I had quit my office job and I was working at a winery because I hated working in the office.
Yeah.
And so I was picking up a couple extra shifts at the Sham, and then there were some staffing changes and things that went down, and now I'm pretty much the primary day bartender.
That's so cool. Because it's really awesome to see like a familiar face. Like everyone has their bartender there, like the one that they're like ranking, even subconsciously. You know what I mean? That's you.
We've got
you and Cheyenne are like right
crew.
there. Yeah.
Shai has been doing such an awesome job. It's such a pleasure.
Yeah, honestly, those pictures I sent you too. She's in like 2 of them. Sorry.
Oh, awesome!
I was like, a little cameo there.
It's perfect.
But yeah, big fan of you guys for sure.
It's been good, and I love where the bar's going. I feel like we're right at this precipice. We're right at the beginning of a new era.
I feel like it got a cleaning.
Yeah,
like a healthy, like a cleansing. Not like I don't know. Cleansing's a weird word.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
You throw ethnic in front of it, and then it's a whole other meaning.
I just think that...
Oh, there's a cute puppy over there.
Yeah, that's my mom's dog, Shauna. She's a Spanish Greyhound.
Does she want to come in here?
They are a little bit rowdy.
Okay.
So they would probably make a ruckus.
Yeah, okay. Well,
otherwise, that would be super fun.
Well, afterwards, let's make a ruckus. I want to meet him.
Absolutely. And then my dog Fern's over there, too.
Fern? Oh, yeah, Fern.
Yeah. But, yeah, no, I think that the bar's becoming a very inclusive space. It's becoming a really positive, open-minded place where people can come and really feel like they can be themselves, and I just love that.
Yeah, and conversely, prior to you being there before the pandemic, it was a very like cliquey place. And I really liked that too because I was part of the clique. So
cliques are really fun when you're part of them.
Yes, they're definitely fun. I remember someone was like, I don't get you guys and your fucking Lompoc humor. It's so weird. And we just had like a super dry, deadpan, like tormentive way of talking and fucking with people. And then that person got in on it. And then she was like, oh, I get it. Yeah, this is great. Yeah,
this makes sense.
And it's like the clique. That's exactly what I think of.
I think that one thing that I love about the Sham is that it is like a little bit of a family, and everyone gets invited to be part of it. Like, if you're cool, you're in.
Yeah.
And like,
that's one thing I've noticed.
Just be nice.
The uncool people, the like.
Just be nice. Just don't be a dick, and then you're part of the crew.
I feel like we've really like shook a lot of the weirdos out of there. I'm sure they slip through the cracks sometimes, but like. And then
such a good crew. I am really just so appreciative of everything.
PM next door, I think is like kind of balanced it in a good way.
Brian is just awesome.
Yeah,
he's a good guy.
Sweetheart.
Yeah, we've got good people all around, and I think that's something that I love about Lompoc. Coming from a big city and not really having that tight-knit group or people that you know. Here, everyone knows everyone. Like,
I know. Everyone's Eskimo brothers.
What was that?
Everyone's Eskimo brothers. Sisters. Everyone knows everyone.
Yeah, and it's interesting coming into that space, and I just think it's really cool. You get to experience some really awesome camaraderie and friendships, and it's just true. Good. There's just really good people here.
It's true. It's so. Part of me feels like I'm super toxic because like all I want to do is just go hang out at the bar sometimes. But it's like it's a really fun place, and I get to play pool all the time. And my friends are there, and the bartenders are cool. They're my friends. You know what I mean? And it's just like, why wouldn't I want to go? And maybe I'll get drunk, which is always fun. Like,
it's also
I
good.
will have a story, or I will, get better about myself and not drink as much next time. Like I don't know. I like that's totally like addict brain right there, like justifying it to my head.
You're like, yes, this is good. Which, if anyone's listening and they want to come in and just have orange juice or pineapple juice,
I had coffee the other day, and then someone came in
for this.
Someone came in Friday, and they were like, I was like, hey, what are you getting? And she's like, coffee. You inspired me because I saw you post having coffee here, and I was like, oh shit.
Well, because people come to the bar to drink, but they also come to be social and we're social creatures. We're meant to be around
that is a huge
people.
part of it. Is like that's like where I can get like the most amount of socializing. I asked 7 different people about podcasts, like doing the podcast this year, and it was like in one day. Usually it's like, oh, maybe I'll ask someone once a week, or like, and I'll kind of find someone. But then you're just communicating with people like organically, and you have all these cool, Also, I guarantee, like I was drinking, and I probably asked people I really don't care to talk to, but I'm gonna have to,
It's such a casual environment that you can have like a couple sentences, and if you don't vibe with that person, it's like no big deal, move on. It's like no pressure.
I love when everyone's done with talking, they're like, I'm gonna get a drink, and it's like, I know exactly what that means. I'm turning away because I know I've talked your ear off, or I said rape or something, and now you're out of here.
Now we're out. We're calling it.
Yeah. that happened.
And scene.
That happened to me 3 times Friday, where I was like,
rape. You had to mention rape 3 times.
No. I just said gang rape, and that was rape 3 times because 3 people raping. No,
It's getting aggressive.
I made like a rape joke, but it was like I said like, oh yeah, remember those old like Kiss songs, or like old songs like Christine 16 or whatever, like, and then my buddy's like, yeah, it was just a different time back then, and I was like, rape's pretty timeless. I don't know.
It's pretty
and then him and his girlfriend were like, we're gonna go get a drink, and I was like, yeah I know.
It's interesting that that's actually something that I was talking to Cheyenne about yesterday, is just making sure that the bar is like a really safe place, and that's something that is so important to me with being there, is talking about this kind of stuff and being like, like, how do we make sure that this is like a really safe place for everyone to be? And it's just an interesting dynamic right there.
Yeah, because as soon as it becomes a place that isn't welcoming and safe, and there becomes like an element of abuse or violence there,
that just fucks everything up.
It's like St. Elmo's Fire. You ever see that movie?
No.
Okay, well, it's
I was
like
homeschooled. I haven't seen like pretty much.
That's why you're so cool. I realized. Okay, so I realized that I was talking to this lady yesterday. She homeschools her kids, and I was like, oh yeah, I have a bunch of friends who are homeschooled, and I used to think they were the weirdest pieces of shit ever.
Well, we're definitely weird.
I'm in a group chat with all of them, and I'm like one of the only ones that wasn't homeschooled, and I was like, what the hell's the matter with these people? And then the pandemic happened.
You're the only one that's in there that wasn't homeschooled, so
yeah. And I was like, I'm the weird one.
Maybe you're the weird one.
No, I'm definitely the weird one. And then the pandemic happened, and I really got to see like how different versions of like indoctrination essentially happen, where it's like, oh, this is just my family's indoctrination, but that's like society's indoctrination, so to speak, where it's like, holy shit, no wonder my dad or mom would be like, what the fuck are they teaching you? Or what the hell are, I used to be like, oh my God, it's just school. Like, it's clearly the place to be. It's where everyone is. It's just learning. And it clearly wasn't always cool. Because there's things that would be like curriculum wise or, ethics wise, where it's like, that's not cool. That needs to change.
It's an interesting thing to have people who, it's the formation of our brains and subconscious.
That's why I didn't know. You didn't go to school. You don't know 1,000 people here. Like,
no, I know basically no one. So it's been,
that's cool.
So it's been really interesting.
You're pure. I found like a diamond over here. It's amazing.
It's just been a trip to get to know people and not having any background on who they are, because it's like a fresh slate.
It is. You get to know like what someone's current self is.
Yeah, I get to know them by how they conduct themselves.
That's so interesting.
In today's age.
That's so interesting because like I have so much history with people in such a short amount of time. See, I knew I liked you. That's why. You're just like, you're just who you are now. And like, I like who I am now. But like 5-7 years ago, it's like, oh, asshole. But
that's all of us. Like we all grow and evolve and change.
Yeah, and there's people that were better like back then that suck now.
Growth. It happens reverse sometimes.
Yeah, it is non-linear. It'll jump around like a Tarantino movie.
It really does. What do you think through pandemic have been some things that, or just like these last couple years, I feel like we were all kind of forced to look at ourselves and be really contemplative in a lot of ways. Do you think that there were any like gold nuggets that stood out to you?
Absolutely.
What would you say that would be?
I feel like I went into the pandemic acting and behaving as this grizzled, grumpy old man. And I really, that first like couple months of lockdown or whatever made me really get in touch with like who I am as an individual when people aren't around and I don't have expectations from people, and how like youthful and like, you know, little kid brained I was. And I was like, I still have a lot of like vitality that I was not giving myself credit for. And I just I really enjoyed having the like introspection that I got to have stuck there. I loved I say this all the time on the podcast. People, regular listeners are like, oh my God, here we go again. I fucking loved the first few like weeks and months of lockdown or quarantine, pandemic, whatever. It was so nice. It was lovely. I loved being alone, not having any responsibility. I lived with my mom. Like I was collecting unemployment checks for like it was just so nice. It just bought shit. Like it was literally like a paid vacation.
Well, yeah. I mean, as a society, we don't get time. We don't get downtime like that for the most part. We live in a society that
truly just so indulgent, and I think that's what I loved about it. Also, dude, my favorite, like hands down, my favorite part. No traffic was oh my God.
Yep.
Oh man, I don't even I don't even know where to start.
Right when pandemic hit, my tenants moved out of my house, and my now ex-partner and I were living up in Sacramento, and so we...
Partner, does that mean it was a girl?
No, it was my boyfriend partner.
Partner.
I just like partner better because it's like...
Howdy, partner.
Yeah, see, it's like Western-y. And also...
Partner sounds like you're going to give me a fucking lecture on something eventually.
In my mind, I'm like, it's more... It's like we're in this together. Like this isn't this. There are no rules here. Like we get to define this however we want, and I think that there's, to me, boyfriend or girlfriend.
It does sound
it's juvenile.
Infantilizing. Yeah.
And I know that
that's why I call Kylie my fiance more now, and I have not proposed to her. Sorry, babe. It's been 8 years. Coming up on 8 years next weekend. Thank you. Well, we'll see if this week happens.
We'll hold out.
Yeah, I might fucking die in the car on the way back. So.
Well, and that's actually something that I was thinking about through this pandemic season, and actually with my ex and I breaking up, was my ex-partner.
See, I don't like that because now it's ex-partner. It sounds like there was like the business failed. Yeah. Like what? It makes it
our
sound.
Investment.
I mean that is kind of what it is. I don't know. Like ex-partner sounds like things didn't go down. When it's just your ex, people have had exes, and I have very different breakups and 3 different exes, or you know what I mean? Yeah. Where it's like, okay, one was really good, one was really bad, and I still fucked the other one. Like there's different kinds of.
Yeah, no, I definitely just call him my ex.
Oh, you were saying, I'm sorry.
I don't remember what
I talked about dying in a car on the way home.
Oh, that everything is so impermanent. Like forever, what does forever mean? Like forever could mean until you break up. Forever could mean until that person dies. Forever could mean until you die. Like
your forever is different.
Your forever means something totally different to everybody, and it's not promised. And so being so intentional about the people that you allow in your space, and being so intentional about what types of things you're going to foster and grow and water in your life I don't know. It just made me realize that it's so impermanent. Everything.
I think that you had a much better answer than me. But yeah, no, absolutely. I think it made me really value a lot of it changed my value system about things for sure. I definitely went from thinking like, oh, I want to live in like a studio apartment in the city and like watch people get mugged below me and like live on top of a bar and be like some weird like Soho artist asshole fucking biker gang wannabe. It sounds
fun.
Awesome. It sounds pretty awesome, right?
Well,
but then the pandemic
fun.
hit and I was alone and I was like, oh, I hate the way everyone is responding to this. People I am agreeing with, people I am disagreeing with. No. I fucking don't want to be anywhere near you people because even though I agree with what you said and it was pretty funny, that's a knee-jerk reaction and everyone is just so that's why I liked the beginning of the pandemic, the lockdown, is there was camaraderie and we're like, oh shit, fucking this is crazy.
We're all in this together.
Just hand sanitizing my fucking groceries here. And then it was like sometime like in May or June, like in the summer, it just became like social war, and I was like, okay, I gotta get the fuck away from people. Like I gotta run away as far as I can. I don't want neighbors. I don't want to see neighbors. I don't want to hear neighbors. I don't want anyone to know where I live. It was just awful. I also lived in a fucking townhome for 10 years in the ghetto of Lompoc. I fucking hate the goddamn neighbors around there, and the people, like, they just tormenting. It sucked so bad. So a bit of a misanthrope by nature, but I also love socializing and love people. And,
right.
You know what
well,
I mean?
I think that there's a difference between curating the people that you that you allow in your space.
I've arrived somewhere between the like homesteading, ranch, isolation, and like apartment in the city. Like,
that's my 5-year plan, is to get out into the middle of nowhere.
That'd be so nice.
You can only come to my fort if I invite you.
Well, see, and exactly
for champagne and dessert potluck.
Yeah, I don't know. It's such a balance too. Like, I think, and one of the big reasons I also just want to live in the middle of nowhere is like, I just want to be able to shoot guns any day and every day of my life and not have anyone fuck with me about it or be a problem. I literally just, like, there's some people who are like, oh, we moved up to NorCal because we had better access to weed up there. It's like, you moved all that way just for weed? You know what I mean? And I was like, you moved all the way out there just so you could go a couple times a day. Like, yeah, that's right. That's so good. It's so nice.
It is interesting that
I just want to be weird. I just want to go have my own like compound gun nudist. I could be a fucking cult leader. Sounds like I just want to be a cult leader.
That's what I'm getting here.
I want to be a solo cult leader where it's just me. I know. I even told my friends, I was like, can we all just like live on a compound somewhere?
That's what me with Katie, one of the other bartenders at the Sham, we're always talking about. I miss
her. She is so awesome.
I fucking love Katie so much. I
never see her. I saw her like just a handful of times.
Katie and I are there every Friday night.
Every Friday night?
Every Friday night. Yeah, Katie and I holding down, except for last Friday because she was in Big Bear. But other than that,
she's super cool. She's like she feels so small town badass to me. I don't know why. Awesome.
She's just got really good energy.
Yeah, she really does.
Yeah, just a solid human.
Like she feels like she is. There's a warmth to her. She feels like she's like my older sister. Like, I don't know, something about it.
I don't remember why I brought that up.
Katie, why'd you bring Katie up?
I don't know. Maybe I just wanted to let her know I love her.
Yeah, shout out, absolutely.
I love you.
Yeah. Gosh,
no, but circling back to the traffic thing, which was why I was talking about moving back from Sacramento, was that we thought that the roads were going to get closed for a bit during that, because you were homeschooled. In Europe,
who thinks that?
In Europe, they shut down a bunch of the roads that you couldn't travel, and so.
Well, that's why we left Europe in the 1600s. They got things wrong over there.
My brother was like, "You should probably like go now, and you need to get all your stuff, and you need to get back to your house because you're not going to be able to." And I was like, "Oh shit!" So we like packed everything up and moved back here all crazy, frantic like when the pandemic hit. And there was no traffic. That was the full circle of that conversation.
We
were talking about traffic, like, and then I brought up a story, and then we were like,
closed, and then you're like, I'm doing 90 on a single lane highway. What the hell? Yeah.
Yep. Such a trip.
pandemic, it turned me into like, I think why I was so stoked about it is I literally just got to live out my like vicarious like Mad Max fantasy for a second, because I literally, it went from like I'd always carried like a pocket knife on me or two and just like roam around, and then that was like at the beginning of the pandemic, and by the end of the pandemic it's like I have a slew of guns, and I always have like I got my bug out bag. I'm ready to go. No, seriously, I had like a little mini bug out bag at all times, and I still have one in the truck, and it's like I have all this shit where it's just like,
why not be prepared?
It literally made me turned into like a not a prepper. There's like a mid-tier level of like someone who, and it really helped me kind of like focus in. Like I really want to know how, what to do when someone is having a medical emergency.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like I didn't know that if someone is shot in the torso, you don't. I forget what you don't.
There's something you don't do, folks.
You don't let air get. I know. Yeah, right.
There's something.
You can't let air get in there, so you seal it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, you seal it. If it's on the arms or legs and limbs, that's when you get a tourniquet, so it doesn't bleed out so much. So the air will cause the lung to collapse if it gets in your chest cavity, and it's very, very different. And it's like, I did not know that 3 years ago. God, this pandemic is a little too long for me. 2 weeks, my ass. They were full of shit.
Yeah, it is. It's very interesting to think about that. Do you remember Y2K at all?
I was too young. It really wasn't even relevant to me by the time I knew what it was. Like,
so with being homeschooled and a little bit more conservative, we went ape shit on Y2K. Really? We canned.
How old are you, Sarah?
I'm 29.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. You're like right there.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
I really had no concept of how old you are. I was like, she could be younger than me. She could be older than me. I really have no idea.
I'm actually Benjamin Button. I have like no concept of time here. No, we went crazy for Y2K. We like canned so many oats that we ate oats for years. Like breakfast. I couldn't eat oats for so long because I was just so
tired of them.
I hate oats.
They're not incredibly nutritious or good for you. They're really just like oats are what people ate. There's a lot
fibrous.
There's and fiber makes you poop hard and it hurts your the colon floor. I learned things about fiber that I had no idea that are actually very counterintuitive. Because people are like, you need fiber, it'll make you poop.
No,
but what it does is it forces it out, and it forces like your colonic muscles, and it really hurts you, and you poop hard and you tear, and then people are like, I'm having such a hard time, and it's like weird.
Too many oats.
So yeah, exactly. But there's so many foods I've noticed just in my like little armchair history browsing the internet that have basically survived famine era stuff to where like that's stuff that kept people alive when they didn't have game animals,
right?
Or like things that like are actually nutritious for them.
Yeah.
And that's why like there's all those crazy crops, and that's why we have 7 different vegetables that came from broccoli or something, or from kale, and it's like those aren't for you all the time. That's for when there's nothing, and that's what those are good
It's so
for.
interesting
because the absorption rate is non-existent almost with those. Everyone's like, look at all the thing in there, and it's like, cool. Does your body get it?
Oh no.
It says that was cool. It literally, it's like the LaCroix of nutrients. It like sniffs by it, and it's like, all right.
What is that? It's interesting that you bring this up. I'm super interested in like food systems. One of my big goals this year is that I really want to go hunting.
Yeah.
I've never been hunting, and I'm like trying to figure out like how I can make it happen. So
it's very easy. I think it's very easy to like make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, but if you don't know anybody who has land, or like, how do you?
That's not true.
No.
I feel like it's so much more accessible to us than we give it credit for, and a lot of things are. A lot of things are.
Oh, I mean, everything in life. I think if you make it an intention and you really go for it, you can make it happen.
Let's talk about hunting then.
So, I think that it's so natural, and it's so important to be intimate with your food in that way, and where it's respectful. I'm like it
also causes the least amount of suffering in an animal that you could possibly,
and the most sustainable.
Yeah, do you ever think about that? This point has been beaten over my head because I've been so interested in hunting, is that like animals do not die like in a bed with their loved ones surrounded.
Oh no,
like,
it's
they
fucking
freeze to
horrible.
death, they starve to death, they die of disease, or something fucking mauls them to death and eats them alive. Or you put an arrow through their heart and they go, what the hell? Oh, and they fall over.
I mean, even think about our industrialized food systems now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're on the 5 and you're going up the 5, you're like passing Cowschwitz there.
Yeah.
The Harris grade.
It's
like
Cowschwitz.
It's
I've never heard it
horrible.
called.
I mean, that might be insensitive, so I don't know if it is. I'm really sorry to anybody. I don't mean
Are you
it.
saying cow? Is it because
like,
cows have big snouts?
No.
Are you making an anti-Semitic joke?
But it's just it's so bad.
It smells horrible. It's crazy, and you go,
it can't be good for your body.
God.
That can't be. There are hormones in that. I don't know. I'm like,
no. Yeah, you bring it on.
I get so. It's so not the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
and I think
there's an incredible amount of accessibility we have as a first world nation to cows that aren't factory farmed like that.
Yeah,
and there's a really great company that I'm aware of that I can't think of the name of. One of my buddies I do jiu-jitsu with actually is a partner in the company, or a boyfriend in the company. Partner. Sorry, you got it wrong. I think it's called Native Pastures, but I could be wrong about that. So sorry if you got the name wrong, Jake. I'll have him on to promote it sometime this year, sometime soon. But where you just get like locally raised meat.
Yeah.
And it's terrific. And those types of things. I go to this little butcher shop in the back of the Los Alamos market and just like get their meat that's I assume very localized because their supply chain isn't as fragmented as it is in all the big box stores.
Right.
So if there's a will, there's a way for you to get something that isn't completely tarnished by industry standards.
And then you have to, and then there's issues of like costs that are involved with that, and I get that not everybody can do that, but it Oh yeah.
So because think about how many times you're gonna eat something bad for you, and then you're gonna feel bad, and then you're gonna not want to do something, and then it balloons and snowballs into something that if you start with something like your diet, it's gonna flower in a lot of other places in your life. And I think that I'm no dietitian, and this is all grain of salt because this is some jackass with a microphone and me
and you.
I'm just kidding. And but I think that something like a small, like starting with your diet, is really pays dividends when you care about something like that. Because I used to eat like shit, and I still do sometimes. And when I don't eat like shit, it is a phenomenal time, and I'm a big fan of it.
I have so many books that I'm trying to read right now, but one of them is this book called The Omnivore's Dilemma by Michael Pollan. I've
heard of that.
Yeah. And it's kind of about that and how a lot of the things we have now, our forefathers or for grandmothers wouldn't have known that was even food. They'd be like, what the fuck even is this?
Eating that shit.
And it's like
stinky thing out of the ground.
What is this? This isn't food. Like And just trying to get back in touch with that.
Tell me more about it. I mean, I have a terrific book written by Dr. Paul Saladino, Carnivore MD on Instagram.
Interesting.
It's the Carnivore Code, and essentially how I found him was he was on Rogan's podcast, and then there was a couple other carnivore things, and then about a year or two later, Joe Rogan actually did the carnivore diet, and he lost a bunch of weight, and I was like, okay, that's it. Like, I've been wanting to do this, and then this motherfucker, I had actually started trying to do it earlier, and I was liking it, what was happening, but then I really went for it, and I lost like 10 or 15 pounds in a month, and I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? I haven't weighed this little in 10 years, and I feel great, and like, it was really interesting. So that's how I know about like little things. But it breaks down the diet, and you think carnivore, you're like, oh, do you just eat meat? It's like, no, there's fruit, there's honey, there's absolutely a more, I don't know, natural diet to where you're gonna have things that he looks fucking great. And I'm like, I don't like to listen to people that aren't in positions I also would like to be in. I don't like to listen to the homeless guy telling me what I should invest in. I don't like listening to the fat dude tell me what's good or bad for me. I don't like listening to the guy with no biceps tell me what exercises are good and things like that. So I try to, with that being said, you can also learn from someone's mistakes.
Oh, absolutely.
So like the homeless guy can say, don't invest in this because now I'm homeless. And you go, okay, there you go. And then the fat guy can say, don't eat this because you get fat. And then the weak guy could say, hey, don't do that because it doesn't give you biceps. So there's a yin and a yang to that.
It's so interesting that you bring it up. It's this goes off on a little bit of a different tangent, but on those same lines, for a long time, I had a really hard time leaving my job, working for the city and leaving an office job because so many people can't imagine another way of being. They're like, you have the pension, you have good medical insurance, you've got the job, you know. But I'm an artist and I do silversmithing and I make jewelry.
Your name was Sarah Silversmith in my phone.
Yes, Sarah Silversmith. That's me. I'm getting back into it. I've just been working a shit ton. But
I would wear some silver if you made it.
I make some. It's fun stuff. I've been doing a lot of stuff with beach pebbles, which is a lot of fun. But remembering there were a lot of people that gave me advice that were like, don't quit your job, like you should definitely stay, like that's a bad idea, like you'll never make money, and just like, but they are the same people who were never brave enough to try what they really wanted to do.
Yes, isn't that the worst?
And so it's
what
like,
dreams did you follow?
Right.
You're hurting me.
And so listening to the people who have done it, or who've at least tried to do it, or listening to people who are walking the walk. Instead of people who were too afraid to jump. And so kind of what you're saying, like, you know, listening to people who are actually doing it, or actually, it's interesting what voices we allow to occupy our mental space. Yeah. And being able to examine it and be like, does that benefit me? Is that where my goals are? Does that get me closer? Does that thought help me get closer to my goals in any way? No. Yeah. Fuck off. I've gotten a little bit more harsh with it now, or I'm just
totally. And it's what you have to be. And I think the things like the pandemic are one of those opportunities where it narrowed your mindset, or not narrowed, but it trimmed it up, it buttoned it up, where you're like, I have no time for this bullshit because my 20s are gone, bitch. You know, you gotta like fucking move on.
Life goes. Life is moving.
That's the crazy thing, is it just always goes. I think about just trying to live more in the moment, whether I don't know what. I feel like there's a lot of things I look back on fondly with nostalgia, and a lot of that feels like a lot of pain because I will never get those moments back, and I need to decide to be happy in the moment and enjoy that time, because the looking back is it's really tricky and really difficult to kind of reconcile who you are as a person if you're constantly looking back in the past and wishing you had something that was more to you then. I constantly have dreams about this childhood home I grew up in for about 5 years. It was Kylie actually pointed out, this sweet angel was like, I think that's just where you had the most stability in your life growing up. So that's the warm center of your universe where you kind of like,
it's your safe space.
Exactly. So it I don't even know where I was going with this, but it just, like, you got to have time for what's going to help the future feel as good as you look at the past too. And like right now in this moment, that kind of thing.
Yeah, totally. Something I struggle with often is thinking that, like, oh, when I'm there, I'll have it. Or like, when this is done, I'll be peace. I'll be able to be peaceful. Or, oh, when I get this done.
Content is on the other side of the fence.
Always.
And then how often is it, do you find out, you know what, I was having way more fun getting there than actually being there?
Yeah. And it's like, okay, I was telling my mom this the other day. I was like, you know, I have everything that I need to live my absolute best life right now. Like, what would that look like? Like,
looks pretty good.
And just being like, what would my day-to-day what do I want my days to look like? And being purposeful about that. Being like, you know what? I want to be able to carve out time to go to the beach with my dog.
That's beautiful.
How can I make that happen?
You're so right, though. And you're so right.
It's obtainable.
It's is it obtainable or attainable? I found it was attainable.
Attainable?
But both work, right?
Not
that it matters.
I was homeschooled.
I'm a word asshole, so
I'm gonna put everything on that. Yeah, it's very interesting. The human experience.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, let's see.
I mean, not that you're not growing up now. I just mean like, what did you want to be when you were a kid?
When I was a little kid, I wanted to be an opera singer. That was I was obsessed with Sarah Brightman, and I wanted to be an opera singer.
Sounds familiar. Sarah Brightman.
Which is funny because
I've never heard that in my life. Opera singer.
Yeah, I was like obsessed.
I thought you were saying optometrist, ophthalmologist.
No, I wanted to be an opera singer. And then I wanted to be a veterinarian because I'm obsessed with
veterinarian's
animals.
a big one. Everyone says that. I feel like veterinarian, doctor, firefighter. Like there's a lot of like village people standards where like people are like, I wanted to be that, and some people say teacher, and I'm always I've never heard opera singer in my life.
Opera singer, and then an artist. I was fortunate. My
what
mom
kind of
really
artist? Like an asshole, or like what do you mean artist?
Is that a type of artist?
I just feel like some people are like, I'm an artist, when they're actually like, I think you're just boring. You don't have a personality, so you just like inflect it on like taking pictures of dumb crap. I don't know. Like people instead of being interesting, they like accessorize themselves with things that are interesting, and I try to kind of gray myself if I can help it, so that way I absolutely have to be what's interesting to the person, instead of, because I used to literally be like, I gotta dress cool, gotta listen to cool shit, gotta fucking have cool shit, and it must always be interesting. And I've slowly kind of like rid myself of those things to an extent where it's like I can be like the artist of myself without like looking like a starter pack.
Is it, the interesting shift in that is that it's all internal. Right?
Yeah, there's a painting in my colon right now. A paintbrush. There's actually a paintbrush. It fit
there
right
we
in.
Go. Yeah, like being an artist. I think everyone's creative. I think every person has that.
Sure, some people fucking suck.
I think that a lot of times. Yeah, I see. I'm like such an optimist. I try to.
Yeah, see, are you an opera singer or are you an optimist? I thought that's what you wanted to be when you grew up, for sure, because I think you are.
I tend to think, oh man, if everyone just was, had the right, I don't know, nurturing, encouragement, and.
I know how many people ended up being school shooters instead of everyone always brings up Hitler. Got kicked out of art school, or they said, "You suck, pussy." And then he killed a couple people.
Just a few.
Him and Ava Braun. I know he killed at least 2 people. Him and Ava Braun.
So fucked up. Yeah, it brings up an interesting thing, because it's like, are people inherently, are they blank slates? Are people inherently good? Are people inherently bad?
Oh, I think there's definitely some bad chemicals that come out of the bottle.
Yeah. And that's
100%.
Just what it is.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah. Some people are just broken. They were born broken, and they're gonna terrorize themselves and others. You ever have like a litter of puppies, and one is a fucking cunt and is gonna grow up to bite a 9-year-old in the throat and kill it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're gonna have to do something with it, and that's life. And hopefully you're not the runt of the litter or whatever. Like, I think that's truly, life does not give a fuck. You get dealt your hand of cards, and it can really suck for some people. And that's when I think about that, and I think about the people who really have it hard, who really, they have overt mental illness, they have a disability, they're stricken to a wheelchair, they're without something. I feel very fortunate to I would rather just be a janitor. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so happy with just like, you know what, I like that I'm doing this so much more than I would have, been an inspiration because I rolled my wheelchair the most miles or something. Not to insult anyone who is in a wheelchair, because I know that I have a few people in wheelchairs that listen to this podcast, and I know there's definitely a few retards that listen to this podcast for sure.
I mean, yeah, it's very interesting to think about all of that. I think that we are all fighting such unique battles, and there's people that have had super shitty cards dealt to them, like family trauma, abuse, whatever, all these things, and they're still not assholes. So I feel like it's a choice. You choose what you're gonna do with that, and I get like, so part of me is like, there's these shitty cards that get dealt to you, things happen, but you get to choose your attitude with that.
It's true.
But then there are just some bad apples, because there's just like, but I think that's on them.
It is on them. Some of it.
Like, if you're a dick, that's on you.
Some people just don't have the fortitude to
But maybe
go
they've never been
those
shown like
love
and like true unconditional like acceptance. And maybe that's true. That kind of fucks with someone. If you
know. Are you watching that show Euphoria? Do you watch TV?
I don't watch TV. I don't have a TV.
I should have known. Fucking homeschooled
well, I don't have a TV.
Motherfucker.
I don't watch
Everything. It makes perfect sense.
I've been seeing a lot of stuff about it on the Instagrams.
Book. What?
I've been seeing a lot about the Euphoria thing on Instagram.
There's this character in there. It's this dad who's a closeted homosexual, and why do you bring this up? It's one of my favorite subplots of the whole show. Not because I'm a closeted homosexual, but because it just is the best story, in my opinion. Like, it is my favorite. Like, this guy had this really budding romance with a kid in high school, and then he got a girl pregnant because he was doing the like, I'm not gay, it's the 80s, I'm not a fag thing, and it just breaks my heart because you can tell like he's missing something as an adult, and it's manifested in a really like unfortunate way, and he didn't get shown that like acceptance, like you said.
Yeah, it's true. I really do think that being a person is this crazy experience, and we're all just like. I
also love that show because it made me like reminded me like LGBT people are people, and they're not just annoying Twitter trolls.
Yeah, well, I think there's just annoying people of every
subculture. No, absolutely. I just wanted to mention that because it absolutely, I think, helped me like pull away from being so harsh on people because of the color of their flag or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
I think it's because I always feel so much better when I'm more accepting of people too.
Well, because being more accepting of others inherently is being more accepting of yourself in all of your flaws and the ways that you show up. I think that the more grace we can give others and ourselves, like, ends up being really magical. Because then it does come from an unconditional place where you're like, I can just accept myself for the fucked up mess that I am, and I can accept other people for the fucked up mess that they are.
And you know what? That's a kind of struggle I've had too lately. Is not even a struggle, just a fun little side quest of. Yeah. I work in this very kind of like masculine trade, and I'm always around like construction workers and people, and it's not really what I thought it was in terms of like the way people behave. And I had this very overt, I don't know where it came from. I think it started, I was not like a very like jock, masculine like kid growing up.
Yeah.
I was just like a grumpy, grouchy, prickly prick asshole. And then I started to like exercise and get like this like machismo, and it showed me a lot about my potential that I wasn't accessing, and it made me regret the way I grew up kind of. So I really leaned into a lot of it, and it is, a lot of it's pure, a lot of it's genuine and organic. Yeah. But there's also, comes with the territory of, there's going to be some bullshit in there. There's going to be some like posturing and bullshitting, and like a lot about like masculine archetypes, a lot of posturing in there. And lately I just was like, I fucking don't really care about doing that as much anymore. I want to do what I want to do. I want to be, I saw this old picture of myself, actually. That's what it was. I saw an old picture of myself and I went, I want to be him again.
Describe the picture to us.
It was me. I was maybe 14, 15 years old. I was wearing a green skateboarding military jacket, had a skateboard logo on it. I had bleached fucking hair. It was like a helmet hair. I had like a Doors shirt on and had like skinny jeans, and I was just like, that is such a cool kid. Where did he go?
Yeah.
And I want to be that kid again. And it was like, I want to be like a little more me than I've been letting myself be, because I've been a little.
How exciting!
I feel like it kind of is exciting.
It's fucking exciting.
I used to paint my nails and shit and like be like a weirdo, and I want to be a little bit more weird again. I think I can balance the weirdo with the wacky machismo and be I want to see what that outcome, that hybrid, that fusion is.
I am the weirdos are my favorite. They
piss me off. They're so annoying. I don't know what you're talking about. I hate other weird people. I hate that, like, weirdos. If I look weird, they approach me and I'm like, oh, what are you doing? Pink hair?
No, I'm like, life is so freaking short. And so what comes to my mind, I'm a fucking weirdo. So that's probably why I like the weirdos. But so I was homeschooled, but then I went to public school for half of 7th and 8th grade, which is like the most fun time. Yeah, the most fun time to go to public school. So I went to public school for those 2, year and a half. And I was so used to just doing like whatever I wanted, to like wearing whatever I wanted or like being my own person. And so that was a little bit of a jarring experience to go to public school and have kids be like, what the fuck are you wearing, Sarah? There was one time I wore jeans and I safety pinned beads, all like these weird glass beads all over the jeans.
Yeah.
It's super weird. Like, what is that about? But weird. I dug it. I thought it was super cool. And being able to just be like, I like this, so I'm going to wear it. And other people aren't going to get it, and that's fine because I think I look hot, Yeah. And it's just, I don't know, true. Finding our own groove. My cousin is such an inspiration for this. He's just such his own person. My brother, too, is like a very unique individual who is so himself. And it's liberating. I think the more people are themselves, it gives other people permission to be themselves.
The people who are unapologetic about being themselves and expressing themselves are so inspiring, and I just want to be surrounded by people like that. And people, like I mentioned earlier, my friend Kale, what I say, we're both cut from the same cum rag.
Yeah.
Because we're just like, he's so unapologetically himself, and he's one of those people where it's like, oh my God, like, talking to him kind of made me want to also get in touch with like who I used to be, because it was definitely more akin to how he is. And not that there isn't glimmers of that, but we're such a what's the word I'm looking for? Such a fucking, I can't think of the word, it doesn't matter. Just a quilt, I guess you could say, of ourselves, like personality wise. In the past, like, like people who like accessorize things from different subcultures, like we were saying earlier, and they create this really like beautiful or sometimes hideous version of things. You gotta shuffle the deck and remember what's in there too. Like, there's a lot of things like, oh yeah, like I used to be a fucking badass, what happened? Or like, oh yeah, I used to be way like. There's a coworker I don't really get along with at work, and it reminds me a lot of how uncomfortable I felt in junior high. I got bullied a lot for what I wore too, which is really weird because I came from going to school. I changed schools, just kind of similar to how you did, just not from homeschool. I went from being like one of the cool skater kids in Arroyo Grande with my friends to Santa Maria, to where it was like, oh, there's none of you around here, boy. It's you look weird. Like you have dyed hair. You're in 7th grade. You're wearing a fucking 70s rock band t-shirt. You're wearing fucking girl jeans with holes in them, and
which ultimately the message is you don't belong.
And that's hard, because whether you want to belong or not, which I didn't, it's really hard on your psyche, because it goes back to a biological imperative you have of
100%.
The fucking tribe does not want me, and they might push me out, and I can't survive without them.
I'll die. I'm gonna die. Your monkey brain tells you I'm not. Yeah, I'm dead. Yeah. I'm not gonna make it out of here.
So it's interesting how like socially we sacrifice and kind of like create like a social homicide to people by alienating them so much, and some people are not tough enough to live out in the social wild as other people. Some people would starve out there, and other people will go, I'm gonna build a shelter and find my own food and have my own taste in music, and I'm gonna have my own interests, and I'm gonna find my own people and my own new tribe, and I'm gonna build my own one. It's gonna resolve around me.
Okay, so that's why I feel like it's kind of bad for the beige like conglomerate crew. But maybe they're really like stoked on that. But in my mind, I feel like
they need entertainment too. We can literally like.
I'm like, be free. Like, be your little weird self.
But without them, everyone would just be weird, and then it's just.
But I'm here for that. I'm here for everyone being like their weird little.
No, what happens?
I'll embrace it. Bring it out.
They turn weirdness into homogeny, and they turn it into the flavor of the week. And like, how annoying is it when something that used to be underground is now popular, and it just gets like murdered to death from like just being. It just becomes it's the town bicycle. Everyone rides it. It's fucking just smushed into obscurity because it is so prevalent.
But I think that's a symptom of people not having the self-confidence to be themselves. It goes right back to the same mentality that creates the beige culture. It's the same thing, but on different ingredients.
I think the beige culture makes the world go round, and then the exterior culture keeps the beige culture entertained to keep making it go round. Not everyone can be of the same cum rag, same cloth. And
well, I guess that is what's so great about like finding your people.
Yeah.
Like, not everyone speaks your language.
And sometimes your people is a little bit of every people.
Yeah.
Which I hope mine is. I love to be as multifaceted as I can. Not literally as multifaceted as I can, but just having like a diversity in your communication is.
Well, they say for like making business decisions or really making any decisions at all, it's best to have people who aren't experts in the area. It's better to have people from so many different backgrounds that know absolutely nothing about the subject, because they're not afraid to ask different questions that might be seen as stupid or might be seen as naive. So the more diverse you can get,
they're not set in that way.
They're not set in a certain way. You get a better perspective. You get more input.
You get an outside perspective.
Absolutely.
I love when people who are new to like one of my hobbies or interests ask me questions about it, because I might have missed something on my introduction.
Right.
And like, I was doing jiu-jitsu with this guy who's a white belt, so he's like lower ranked than me. So he's newer to it, and we were talking about it, and it was just like he still did well. I was still, like there was a communication where he's going to ask something or do something that I might have missed introduction wise. Yeah. Maybe there's something fundamentally that I missed. Same thing like with being an electrician. There's this kid who's younger than me, but he knows way more because he's been doing it longer.
Yeah.
And it was something very simple. It was like wiring a switch. And I was like, hey man, can you tell me how you do that? Like, I want to know how you do it in your mind, what you do and think of it. And I want to see like how you convey that to me.
Yeah.
Because you might say something that helps it click so much more.
Oh, that's the beautiful thing about learning and teaching, is that everyone has a different approach. And
teaching is a terrific way of learning.
It's such a good way of learning.
That happens in jiu-jitsu a lot. People start teaching or start like coaching classes, and then they level up because they're fleshing out and learning how to convey techniques to people, and then they really have to make it understand, especially when you teach like little kids. It's like you have to break it down to the simplest forms of understanding, and then you understand it in the most simple way, and then you can add the complexities in on with your own,
So interesting. It's so great. Yeah, that's something that I'm hoping that I can do with my silversmithing hopefully soon, is like get it set up so I can start teaching classes.
Do you have a page?
I do.
Is it just your Instagram?
I have my Instagram, which is going to be Farrell Silver, which is F-E-R-A-L Silver. And then I have a website as well, which will be the same.
What is it? F-E-R-A-L?
Yeah,
okay,
so it's kind of a play on my last name.
Yeah, well, I just got that. Very slow.
Yep. So it's like Farrell Silver, and I've got my Instagram, and I have a website under the same, www.farrellsilver.com.
Cool.
It's super outdated, and I'm needing to
that's okay. This will be a good call to action.
Seriously, yes. But yeah, the few instances where I've been able to teach people how to make stuff has just been so fun. It's so fun to help people realize that they can do something with their own hands, that it's not rocket science. It's technique, and it's just knowing the basics, and anyone can create something. It's just doing it. I love it. It's so fun.
How'd you get started doing that?
So, I was really interested in it. I just liked how silver stuff looked.
How long ago? What age?
I've been doing it for about 3 years.
3 years? Okay.
But definitely like hobby level for a while. My ex and I were living up in
partner.
my ex-partner, we were living in an airplane hangar up in Santa Maria at
You're
the
so
airport.
fucking cool.
No, just
out of all the people I've known that have lived in airplane hangars, you're the first.
So we were there living in the airplane hangar. So I had space to be able to set up a whole studio and get started. And Daniel, my ex-partner, was like, Sarah, you need to stop buying tools and shit, and need to stop buying stones, and you gotta make something. He was like, he kind of pulled the plug and was like, you gotta do this.
Yes.
And so there's a lady up in Avila who teaches classes, and so I took a class on how to just solder like two pieces together to make a ring. This was actually the first ring that I made, and it's called a spinner ring. So there's a wide piece of silver at the bottom, and then there's a thinner one around the top of it, and it actually spins. But in that class, I learned how basically just to solder two pieces together. And after that, it was like, okay, I have the tools I need.
All those little nipples on it. That's a great ring.
And
I like that.
You know, it was like, I have everything I need. Now I understand the basic rudimentary, like how to solder things together. And it was just like wildfire after that. I was like, all right, let's go. So I was just making stuff, and it was, I was working down in Santa Barbara at the time and commuting. So I would leave at like 6, wouldn't get back until 6 or 7. And then I'd be, up late at night working on silver. And so it's been really fun.
So it's like definitely some passion in there.
Oh, for
you
sure.
gotta have passion.
Yeah.
How hard is it for people to have passion too?
It's vulnerable to have passion.
Yeah. Okay. I guess maybe passion isn't the word I'm looking for. I guess motivation to have
initiative.
I want to be, initiative. There you go.
Yeah.
Like I want to be a comic more than anything. You know what I mean?
Really?
This
Tell me
is
about
actually,
that.
So as long as I can remember, I've watched stand-up. One of my earliest memories is watching Sam Kinnison's Live at the Comedy Store.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't have been older than 5 or 6 years old. Before that, I watched Jeff Foxworthy, one of his specials. Then I watched like Blue Collar, and then I remember I really loved superheroes and comic books. And on TV Guide, before there was like, we didn't have TV for a long time. And then we had TV Guide, so I was like, oh my God, what's on? And I'd look at all these things, and I always saw comic something, and I was like, comics, and I was like, oh, comic books, superheroes, fuck yeah, I want to watch that. Yeah. And I clicked on it, and it was stand-up, and I was like, oh, that's not what I thought. And then I was listening, and I was like, oh, this is funny. Oh shit, this is like the other funnies I watch. And it became like, I was 7 or 8 years old, and we had stolen cable, and I used to watch Comedy Central and just watch stand-up all the time. And I was always, not always, but it started happening like 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th grade, where people are like, you're funny, you should be a comedian. And I remember one time one of my friends told a joke that he like got from another comedian. Like when you're a kid, you tell like jokes from like specials and stuff. And he like made it sound like it was his story. And I went up to him after, and I was like, hey man, I saw that special. That was a great story. I love that story.
I know your dirty secret.
Yeah, I know your dirty secret, exactly. And it, like, that's like a long memory ago, and people literally have told me I should be a comedian for so long. Here's the funny thing is, once I decided I want to be a comedian, you don't hear that anymore. No one says, oh, you should be a comedian, because either they think you are, or you aren't funny anymore for some reason. I don't hear people say I'm funny anymore, and it hurts. Like, it happens a lot less, and it hurts. And I don't know if it's because I'm trying to focus funny onto like the page, or like jotting it down, or you transcribing it somewhere. But gosh, how do I put it? I was really like toxic about it too. If I wasn't the funniest person in the group and someone else was getting like the most laughs, like I got so much more jealous. You could have grabbed my girlfriend by the ass or something, and I would be less jealous, or like less like upset than I would if you were making like them laugh more or something. Like I would just like, especially if I didn't think you were funny, I was like, how the fuck are they falling for this? Because I am actually way funnier and they are not laughing. Stupids. Jeez. So I don't remember.
It's interesting the things that we assign our self-worth to, you know? Like
it's really trivial to other people. They're like, I didn't even think about being the funniest person.
Right, but
like I cannot get any of my coworkers to laugh. My boss, no one, and it kills me because
I'm fucking hilarious.
I went from literally just like working at Starbucks, having a crew of people just like pissing themselves laughing and being like the most like.
What's your partner number?
Enigmatic, huh?
I said, what's your partner number?
244-5325, and it was fucking. Like awesome. And I remember I even worked in a factory one time and I used to say jokes, just the craziest shit. And this was before I even wanted to be a comedian, but I was like constantly like just pushing the envelope of like saying crazy shit and funny shit and just like making it happen. And now it doesn't happen at work and I quietly just like die inside a little bit every day.
But also what an indicator too that environment makes such a huge difference.
Yeah.
And like the people that you're around, they might not they just don't get you. And that's not a reflection of you, that's a reflection of the environment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very fucking
but we let it get to us. It gets to our heads.
Yeah, I'm talking about it now.
Yeah.
I've been doing this job for about 7 months. Fucking murder.
They don't even think I'm funny.
Yeah. But then I'll write something down. I'm like, that was funny. I got it.
I know that's funny. Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah, no, our environment, the environment that you're in makes a huge difference, and it's okay to. This is my own perception on this, but I think there's a difference between running away from something and choosing that it's not for you, and like specifically, I'm referencing.
It's a really important distinction to make.
Absolutely, and the only one that knows that is you.
What are you referencing?
The only one who would know the difference. For me, working for the city, like I'm not an office person. I hate working at a desk. Like, it was really hard for me, and so for me to distinguish between, am I running away from this because it intimidates me, or am I choosing not to be in this environment because it's not conducive to my growth as a human being, it's not aligned with my goals, this isn't a stepping stone towards something that I want, this doesn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow.
And the only one that can say what that is ourselves, because nobody else will know, and everyone else will give you their perspective from their own
they might be wrong
lens.
Or they call you chicken shit for leaving or vice versa, or maybe they're like, oh, it doesn't work for you. And oh man, I genuinely about a week or two ago I was like, I think I'm gonna have to fucking leave this job. I'm okay now, but I was like, damn, I was kind of liking this and this is just really isn't working. Something about it wasn't working. But I've learned that I was very impatient in making knee-jerk kind of things like that. So I'm definitely like I'm like, I'll always be a little more optimistic than I pretend I am. So like I'll probably pretend to be cynical and like secretly be like way more optimistic, because it just to an optimistic person is usually the most annoying person, and the cynical person is usually like slightly less annoying. So I can be a little close.
For me, I'm like,
and also they can be funnier too.
The people who are pessimists, I'm like, fuck you.
Oh yeah, pessimists. Get your toxic fucking shit away from me. I don't know anyone who's a pessimist because they don't have any friends.
I hate complainers too. I can't handle
whiners.
Don't complain to me.
When I complain, I'm doing it strictly because I'm going to make it funny, or I think it's going to be funny. But also I heard recently that I don't know, it was like a piece of advice somewhere, and they said, don't complain. No one cares when you're complaining. It doesn't affect them. And I noticed from like a couple weeks after that, every time I'd complain, I'd kind of see people like detach from the conversation. Yeah. I go, okay.
Well, because it's not productive in any way. What purpose does it serve?
It feels good, and sometimes like when I complain, it's really funny.
Yeah.
Like I think that's like I have a couple comedians I really love, and it's like when they're like complaining about something, they're making it hilarious.
I think that's different though. If you're making a bit out of it, if you're like,
yeah, that's true. That's fair. I guess, and sometimes I probably confuse myself where I'm going, oh, I thought me complaining was interesting because I made it funny and interesting sometimes, but now I'm just bitching and I'm not doing it, so no one cares.
Being a person's weird.
It's the only thing we got though, so you just got to do it.
Yeah.
You know how many times I'm driving and I'm like, what is this? Where are we?
Yeah.
I did not agree to this, and you just like pop up out of nowhere, and you're like, what's a conscience, and like what's a inner monologue, and you go, wait, what's actually like when you dehumanize and like unfamiliar yourself with reality and like personhood and like your physical embodiment, you go, who did this? But then you're like, wait, how do you know what a who is? Like, oh shit, like it is trippy. I have goosebumps on my leg just saying it right now. Like,
consciousness,
it is so bananas. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. But I will tell you what, I've been happy, I've been sad, I miss people. There's people who are not here anymore. I've had some pretty okay sex before. Like, those things are awesome. Like, I want those around, you know?
Those are good parts of being conscious. Yeah, it is. It's a trip. I don't get it half the time. Sometimes my neighbor jokes, because I'm always saying that being a person's weird. She's like,
yeah, you said it like 4 times.
She's all, are you an alien?
Are you an alien?
Maybe.
But then like also, I bet we were like, being a fucking alien's kind of weird.
Yeah, I think just being a being is crazy. The individual, being the individual, and the I can go off on this because this is like.
Before you go off on it, let me change these batteries. It's looking a little low.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you can timestamp it right there. All right, hold that thought. Being a being.
Yeah, being a being. A green bean, to be specific.
Being a green bean.
Yeah, it's a
all
trip.
right. Oh, hold on. Splice this.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Well, like my like one compliment that I get, maybe not a lot, but I get this compliment every once in a while, is that people tell me I have a nice ass.
Yeah,
and I'm always like, thanks, it's my greatest asset.
Yeah, that's always a good one. I always try to make a pun out of catastrophe, or like ass is a great one. You get, because there's AS in so many words. Yeah. I used to get a lot of compliments on my butt, and I don't know what happened. That's like something that I lost, like with the funny thing, where people don't say I'm funny anymore, and people don't say I have a nice ass anymore.
What the hell?
Like, what the hell
They're
happened?
letting you down.
I think, I don't know.
Everyone likes a good butt compliment.
Powerlifting, so I think my butt kind of like shrank a little. I don't know.
Bodies change.
I also my jeans aren't as tight anymore, so.
Well, you're not wearing those skinny jeans that you were when you were in Arroyo Grande. Skater boy.
It was really Napomo. I want to specify, because Arroyo Grande, there wasn't a middle school in Napomo at the time, so everyone had to go to HE. I was wearing some skinny jeans, right? I think I was wearing. Yeah, that's right. I was wearing them Friday night. I was wearing good butt pants then.
They're still in the arsenal.
I still
We've
have
got
some.
those.
Yeah. Well, I gave Kylie like 2 pairs of my skinny jeans, because I think skinny jeans on girls, like tight jeans, like that's where it's at. Like. There's some people who can really rock like a baggier fit or a looser fit, like a straight fit, but I think like tight jeans belong on women. It is good. But what we were saying before, being human beings weird, and I said, oh, that's right. How much of what you want to do is just being selfish, and how much of it is actually like there may never be an opportunity or something to be done like this ever again.
Yeah, which
not like heroin, guys. No. Like, let's be smart about it.
Which then reminded me of like a conversation that we had at the bar regarding polyamory and open relationships, that's right. And just the complexities of that. Mm-hmm. As well.
That's a hard one. Yeah, because it's like I've been in an open relationship before, and it obviously didn't work out. You know what I mean? Where I'm not with that person anymore, and it was really weird. And you think it's gonna work and think it's fun, because you're like, what wouldn't be fun about not having like a restrictor plate on my genitals or something?
And I think it's so interesting, because I last year, or really this year too, I dated a couple that.
Oh, you dated a couple?
Yeah, I dated a couple for a while, and it was so interesting to navigate that, and they aren't together anymore.
You fucking you were house wrecker, home wrecker? Is what happened?
No.
That's what I think happens.
But see, it's interesting, because I think that some people, they don't want that, and they go along with it because they think their partner wants it, or that they get to stay with their partner.
Yeah.
And instead of it,
how sad
that's
is
fucking
that? That's
sad.
Fucked up.
That's
because
fucked up.
Like to try. That's how much you love the person. You're like, I don't want you to leave, even though this is going to hurt me. but for doing it. Like, you leaving me is going to hurt more in my head than us going through with this is going to hurt. Maybe it's like a balance of negativities, like a balance of the cons.
I think that it's really challenged my way of looking at it in a lot of ways, where instead of it being a limitation, it can be more of an opening, where you're allowed to have these deep, complex relationships with friends. You're able to have these deep, complex relationships with romantic partners. Yeah. You're able to have these deep... So it just... I mean, everyone has different expectations and what they want, but it all comes down to communication.
Yeah, and it's so difficult to perform, to achieve, rather, the amount of communication that I feel would even qualify you to have another person. Like, how good are you at relationships that you can add another?
Yeah, I mean,
like, the people I know that are polyamorous, they're still together, but I know a lot of people who tried that shit and it blew up in their fucking face. And it's like, the absolute hubris people have to be like, I'm so good at this, I got another. Like,
oh, but I think that's part of the misconception too.
I understand the, like, oh, well, like, I can't just shoot one gun all the time, like, I have to shoot my other one too, or like, I can't. That's, like, of course, my fucking
yeah, no, that's my go for. That's my go-to.
But like, that in my head, that kind of simplifies it, and I understand where it's like, oh, I can't always date a black girl. Like, I have a white girlfriend too. Like, that'd be cool, just on a strictly superficial basis.
It's interesting because I think for me, and this is coming from a place of, through the whole experience, I'm pretty sure that I am monogamous. I don't think that I want to have multiple romantic relationships. But I understand that I don't see it as so opposite. I don't see it as something that, let's say I'm having a relationship with somebody and they also have a very deep, intimate relationship with somebody else. Yeah. I don't think that makes my relationship with them any less. I think that there's...
No, it's a different dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that we put ourselves in these like binary boxes where it's like, okay, you only have 100%, and you can, if you get 50%, then I only have 50% to give somebody else.
And I think that there's gonna be a misappropriation of funds in polyamorous relationships.
Interesting.
Someone is...
You think that's just innate? That's just...
I'm saying it from someone who has a somewhat successful relationship with one person, and it cannot be, to me, stated enough how much work it is and how much of yourself a good partnership, like you would put it, requires. And I think that if I were to have another partner or someone else in a relationship, it would I'd be augmenting power, or like taking it and giving it to someone else. That maybe it's possible. I've also like never truly done it to where I've dated multiple people at a time. That anyone knows about. I'm just kidding. But like actual two relationships, you know, I don't know. Like, I think about also how heartbreaking it would be. It's like, someone is going to have the worst Valentine's Day that day, which is tomorrow. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Like, someone like might actually be like, to me, when you can apply numbers to people because there's more than two sides, you can apply a ranking system, and then that can give you a complex about where you stand with someone. And whether you know it or not, like at work, for example, none of us are fucking each other, but I have a boss and I am the lowest on the totem pole. We have someone who's newer than me, but they know more than me. They're more advanced and they get paid more. And then they have someone who is older than me,
right,
and knows more than me and is like a higher up, but essentially we're both apprentices. Right. I'm the lowest man on the totem pole. I know where it is. It's very humbling. It's very like this is really gonna give me some character building opportunities because I am at the bottom of the barrel here, and that's just how it is.
It's interesting because I think the work dynamic, there's an inherent power balance because you're getting paid, And I think that for me,
I would definitely be in an open relationship or like a polyamorous relationship if I was getting paid.
Right.
I'd be like, there it is. No, but fixed it.
But like, I think in my mind, the polyamory done correctly, because I think there's relationships that are done incorrectly all the time. Like people who are in monogamous relationships then cheat, and it's like, okay, obviously you're not a monogamous because you're cheating on your partner. Like,
but do you think they were even worried about, like, they were even saying they were monogamous?
I think a lot of people. Why would you be in an exclusive relationship and not be monogamous? Those things are kind of, in my mind, synonymous.
Stop rhyming, asshole.
Bam. Next beat is dropping.
SoundCloud mixtape out now.
So
I hear you.
So it's like, in my mind, if it was truly 100% unconditional, where it's just like, I just love you as a person, 100%, like, doesn't matter, I support you and want the best thing for you. There's jealousy, of course. I think that's a normal thing that pops up no matter what.
Jealousy is also really hot too.
Really? That's an interesting dynamic to explore. Dive into that a little bit more.
I don't know. Like, jealousy is hot. Like, fucking, like when someone is literally so upset that they're not getting your attention. I don't know.
That goes back to like a power dynamic, though.
Well, I'm a man. We have the power, right?
Interesting.
I don't know.
That you say
it might
that.
be thing, but it's so like. There's part of me that would get jealous, and then it's just like, oh, how dare you? I would like the jealousy, mad at you to makeup sex ratio is awesome. Which also really sucks. 'Cause I'm very, very like, I feel like I'm very chill and very like, I've arrived at such a place where like not a lot of anything gets me jealous. Like, it actually, I used to be a very jealous person.
Yeah.
And just got put through the ringer of the trials and errors of relationships. And I think, and I think at this point, like, it might be something innocuous that gets me jealous. There's things that just like, I'm very hopeful and proud to say, like, that's not an element that I struggle with.
I think, just kind of circling back to polyamorous relationships, it's like jealousy comes from an unmet need. So
unmet need.
Unmet need.
See, there you go.
So what do you?
My needs are met. That's
so
what
communicate. So communication is like, okay, I'm feeling jealous. What am I feeling like I don't have enough of? Do I need more time with this person? How can I communicate that? Or like, maybe I feel like
you're really breaking it down, aren't you?
But I mean, that it can be so simple. Like, I think we're a lot of times afraid to ask for what we need. And first we have to know what we need, and we have to know ourselves enough to know what we need, which takes a lot of introspection.
It really does. And I think that people who can't be alone with themselves often struggle with
ding,
multitude of insecurities where they cannot help but project it onto other people. And what they really need is to identify, like you said, like themselves, and really know themselves and identify those things that kind of make them tick. Yeah. And sometimes it's a really ugly stare in the mirror. You know, sometimes it's waking up and going, it's a real ugly version of yourself, and you go, ooh, okay, that we got to address that. And people who are too scared to do that gonna have a hard time.
Distractions. It's people who which is easy to do because no one wants to fucking deal with that shit.
No.
You don't want to have to look at your personal trauma, family trauma, the way your coping mechanisms, how you've, that it's traumatic.
Yeah, but then something that kind of helps me push me along with that.
Yeah.
Is
shrooms.
Like, no, seriously, like a minute ago, I was like, this is why everyone needs fucking microdosing of mushrooms right now.
Yes.
Something that helps me push along with that is the how finite life is.
Yes.
It's like, hey, you know what? All the shit already happened, and it's still going to be here, and I have no idea what's going to happen. And here we go.
And
better just try it. Better just do it.
I'm in control.
You are the captain of your vessel.
You're the captain of your vessel.
It's beautiful.
You can be a dick if you want to be a dick, and if that serves you well, good for you.
Oh man, isn't it so nice when you make a
you don't have to be that.
Do you ever do something where you make a personal decision to actually, like, you do something with intent, and it's so empowering, and it's so That's the word I'm looking for. It's very true, validating. There you go.
I think that intent and being intentional with everything is key. And that goes for relationships, that goes for life, that goes for your energy, what you're thinking about. Because it's so easy to get distracted, it's so easy to be focused on other things and be in this whirlwind. It's interesting that this is being brought up. I'm really trying this year to be more intentional about my friendships. And instead of just taking shit for granted and being like, yeah, they're my friend, they don't need anything from me. It's like, no, you have to put money in the bank. You have to invest in the people that you care about, and you have to be intentional about being like, you're a good egg. I like you, and I want to spend more time with you because you
make me feel good about myself, and I want to make you arrive at the best version of yourself
100%.
Because you did me the kindness of elevating my spirits, and who knows if I ever get another one like you. I've had 2 friends pass away recently, and it's very difficult to not have them around because they're both so unique and such a cool person. Both of them, you would love them. They're exactly the kind of people you like. They were not beige people.
Which I love you beige people too, but but I like
Someone's
the weirdos. I like the weirdos
podcast.
a lot better.
Yeah. Weirdos. So,
do you want to take a moment to talk about them? Did you feel like that would be cathartic, or?
No, I'd probably start crying right now.
Okay.
Yeah, felt very nice, and I'm not a crier.
Yeah.
Lately, totally, absolutely have been. I think I did something to upset Kylie yesterday, and I was really disappointed. Jesus, I'm not. That was all sour.
Oh no!
Right there.
We're chowing down on some Starburst sour gummies here.
Sorry. Anyways, and I did something, and it was I was hungover, so I made a error.
Yeah.
And I fucked up, and I felt really bad about it, and I started crying, and I was like, fuck. And I was like, when have I ever been so disappointed in myself that I started crying like that? I tightened that shit right up, especially because I was in the bathroom. I looked in the mirror and I was like, "Is that what people look like when they're crying? That's disgusting. The whole face is red. It looks like I'm
is
stoned."
Gross.
So
crying,
I immediately was
crying is not a good look. It's
Nope.
interesting that you bring that up because I struggle with crying.
To cry?
I have a hard time crying.
Yeah, I feel like I didn't cry maybe a single time throughout Kylie's ordeal with her dad passing away.
Yeah.
And then I did.
Yeah.
The day after, the night of after his celebration of life. And it was...
It's something that
It's how I was dealing with it.
Yeah, it's something I want to practice.
Crying? Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think I practiced not crying because I didn't want to be seen as weak I saw people who were crying and being upset about things that I felt that I was tough enough to withstand, and I didn't understand how they could be so easily sidetracked by something like that and let their emotions get in the way. And this all led to me being very interested in Meditations, the book on Stoicism by Marcus Aurelius, his fucking journals and stuff. So that ended up helping. But to be stoic is also to realize that crying is a part of life too.
And I think that as human beings, going back to being weird alien creatures, really, that we're in this flesh suits, we're supposed to feel things. Our bodies emote.
My back's killing me right now.
You're like, I definitely feel that. And so I think putting a cap on a normal release of emotion is something that I haven't felt safe. I haven't felt safe enough to cry. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. It's so terrible because just
it's very
have
vulnerable.
Passion is very vulnerable, like you said,
And so being able to be you know what, I am in a safe place. I'm allowed, my body is allowed to process whatever the emotion this is, whether it's grief, whether it's extreme happiness, whether it's whatever.
Yeah, I think it also can be boiled down to when I've cried and felt vulnerable, I was being exploited in some way.
Yeah.
To where I don't let that happen or don't want to let that happen.
Because you're being manipulated. That's
exactly.
Bullshit. It hasn't been safe.
Yeah, it hasn't been safe. You're not happy, or you've been injured or hurt and you're weak. Oh man, it is not good.
Being It's an interesting thing.
I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah. It's my mom.
What a sweetheart. She has a Spanish accent.
Yes. Yep.
I guess when you live somewhere long enough, you get an accent. I used to speak in accents when I was younger.
Yeah.
Like a teenager. I used to just like have like just add an accent to things. I remember one time I was like huh?
I said, why not?
Why not?
Have fun.
Well, yeah. Well, here's the thing is like I remember I'd hear like other people like mockingly do like British accents, and I'm like, you suck. You're so annoying. What are you doing? But I'd also like just watch enough of something that I just would adopt the accent for the day or something. Big fan of that. Used to love that.
Do you have an alternate personality that you bring out when you're like drunk or like, do you know what I'm talking about?
Why
like,
do you ask? Oh, like everyone has like, oh shit,
like here
Joey
comes
B's
Sheila.
here.
Like,
yeah, exactly. You know, yeah. I don't think so.
No, I was just wondering if they had an accent.
Oh, that'd be funny.
It felt like that was the obvious leap from.
Yeah. I hear you. I know where you're going with that. Yeah. No, I don't think so. Yeah. What do you like to do for fun?
Oh, goodness. I tend to keep myself on a hamster wheel of craziness. Okay, well, let's see.
Bring me around the rotation.
When I'm taking care of myself and doing fun things, the things that I like to do for fun are backpacking. I love backpacking, hiking, really anything outside. I want to be outside all the time.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
I enjoy hanging with my diggity dog. Fern baby. Let's see. I hate this question because it's like...
You're like, oh shit, I'm boring.
I'm fucking boring.
That's not true. No one's boring. Everyone, I think people, here's the thing. You having fun doesn't have to sound fun to someone else. That's silly. You're missing the function of the question. I'm asking you what you have fun doing, not what is going to sound fun to everyone else. Because that's stupid.
Touché.
I'm just trying to find out like what makes you tick.
Absolutely.
So just take it like that.
I like making collages.
That's cool. That's something I've genuinely do in like a very bare bones Spartan kind of way. That I remember I basically used to do when I worked at the hotel when I was a night audit. Yeah. I'd get a notebook like this, and I'd take a page, and I would make a collage of what I wanted to either draw, listen to, look up, research, identify, or and it would just be essentially a word collage, which is not necessarily a note-taking notebook page. It was a collage of what I needed or wanted to do. Yeah. Now I kind of do that with a daily planner. I got this daily planner last year, and it's been so awesome.
I'm obsessed with planners.
It's so weird. I don't know how I've never really clicked with any until this one, because I love writing things with not typing. I love to write.
Like pen to paper.
Pen to paper,
is the best.
very important to me. It's a very good feeling, and it helps me recall it. And it's I really liked it. It helped. It was like one way of coping with my ADHD, which I was recently diagnosed with, which to no one's surprise.
Do you feel like that's a relief?
It was a relief after the medication started working. Yeah. And then I found out so this just happened recently. I just started medication for it, and then I ran out and rescheduled a doctor's appointment, couldn't get a refill, couldn't get in contact with him. All the typical bullshit everyone goes with the healthcare system and pharmacies and doctors, and there's like like the three branches of miscommunication. It's horrible. And then I realized, oh shit, is this what I'm like without medication? How the fuck do you people stand me? So I was like, it's just like always, and I was like, oh my god. And I remember just talking the new guy's ear off, and I remember when he started, I feel like he was like, yeah, you're cool, and now he's like, Jesus fucking Christ, get him away from me. No. So it once I found out, and then Kylie too, she's like, oh yeah, you can tell, because when I asked her, when I started the medication, I asked her, I was like, please let me know if there's something you notice that's like subtle that maybe I'm not noticing, because I want to index fix this, and I want to find
out
like
let's be scientific about it.
Yeah, I really love that. That shit makes me horny, and it just like breaking things down like that. Really like being a huge Sherlock Holmes fan. So like I love to have like the investigation aspect to.
It's cool to be able to do that with ourselves too.
That's exactly what I mean. So she didn't really have many things she had kind of notated on, and then I didn't have it, and then she was like. And I had the realization too of like, this is what we need to notice. What I'm like normally, holy shit, normally like off meds or whatever.
Right.
And now I'm back on them. This is day 2 back on them, and I already feel it's so nice. It's like buttoned up.
Yeah.
It feels great. I feel like I can articulate in an intellectual, intelligent way, and I remember words that I feel like I had long forgotten that I always struggled to actually fucking use, and I love having a wide lexicon. So I found out that essentially I looked at this like graphic representation in a video of what's going on when you have ADHD, and it was essentially like a synapse like going, and it's supposed to connect like this, and it's not. It's instead it's going.
Interesting.
Sometimes there's sometimes not, and it essentially made it go.
It's connecting all the synapses.
Like, so it truly, to answer your question, was like such a relief to find out the medication worked.
Yeah.
I could have fucking told you I had ADHD 10 years ago. That has nothing to do with how... It was also just like, I was telling the doctor, I was like, I'm fucking 26. I don't have anything to show for it. And it's really frustrating because I think I could have, and no, I should have. And my brother was, diagnosed with this, and my mom's like, he's just a kid. He doesn't need medication. And then I was, and everyone knew I was fucking crazy. And then I didn't need medication. And I was also like, I don't want any medication. I have friends that are on medication. They're fucking ghosts of who they actually are.
Right.
Now that I'm an adult and I can kind of like make the informed decision and have like a mature relationship with it, interfaces quite nicely.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, it's so empowering to be able to take control of that, because I know for myself, I would definitely say I'm on that spectrum. I've never been diagnosed, but I've done a lot of research and I've done a lot of looking into it, and it's crazy. I think that was a huge part of me not working out in the office setting, because how your attention works and motivation and your brain operates differently. Like your brain's different.
It's helped me at work too.
Yeah.
That's been a huge help.
And so good for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's huge. I think I definitely feel that. It's good stuff.
I want to stretch out in this sun right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, crack my back.
Go for it.
I'm going to. I feel like this is the place to do it. Definitely the person with the vibes of accepting that.
Well, go for the that bench too. Is always a good spot to lay out on.
There we go. Oh, you can hear
Did you get it?
Yeah. Oh, it's going. Oh, yes. Oh, it was loud. Oh, my God. I herniated a disc.
Oh, shit.
4 years ago.
Oh, God.
So it's been a cut and a half every once in a while.
Oh, no.
And
do you notice that when it happens, or like what?
Yeah, it fucking hurts. What do you mean? Do I notice when it happens?
But like, is there a certain thing that it's like, if I do this movement, it triggers it, or it's like it's just random?
Sometimes it's just me being a wild asshole.
Yeah.
Oh, this feels good. So I have a couple like go-to stretches, and it just works. Thankfully, one of them is reminiscent of jiu-jitsu technique, so I feel cool doing it. 'Cause it's like, I'm gonna strangle someone with this one.
Yeah, you're all.
Alright. Feels good. I actually want to move out in the sun now. I love being in the sun. Just switch sides here. That works for me.
Well, I was thinking more about your question about what I like to do for fun.
Yeah, let's do it. Talk to me.
And the other thing I do, I'm between bikes right now, but I like riding motorcycles.
What? You fucking like riding motorcycles? I thought you just had a motorcycle in here just because like you collect random shit.
Funsies.
No, I'm dead serious. I'm not even teasing you. I genuinely was like,
oh no,
you're just like, oh cool, it's a cool paperweight back here.
The goal is to get this thing running. I'm gonna have to rebuild it. I just got the manual for it, so I'm gonna start.
Who taught you how to be cool? Because like I had teachers, like people taught me how to be cool. They were mostly like what I found cool in certain ways. Who was like your mentor in that? I mean, you have some inspirations.
Everybody around you, right? You take little, like we were talking about earlier. You're like a conglomerate of all these people that you surround yourself with. Do you have heroes?
Do you have idols? Do you have like pillars around Mount Rushmore?
Yeah. Okay. So my cousin Shane is like.
Do you want to put this hat on?
Let's see.
I've
got one.
Yeah. I wasn't trying to make you all fucking
I'm all
shitty with the.
My cousin Shane is just a super dope dude.
Does he live around here?
He's in Grass Valley.
That's not around here. Got it.
He's up by Sacramento, kind of.
That's
he's someone
barely
who's just been
California.
very unapologetically himself.
Yes.
And just such an inspiration of being like, you can be into whatever you like and do whatever you like, and just really encouraging.
Do you feel like an eye on you when you go places? Like you're like, oh, I'm the cool one. Like, do you feel like a modicum of difference of like you kind of stand out a little more?
No, not maybe a little bit. It depends, I guess. Would you feel that way?
Yeah, I'm very self-aware of that, especially when I was younger. Like, if I was like going to like a parent's friend's house and like there was like some kids there, some people there, like there was definitely like a different kind of cloud over me than them, so to speak.
I would say definitely as kids, that was definitely our family culture, was like, which is pretty toxic in my opinion, of like
being everyone's the black sheep.
We were like the best. We had to be the best at everything. We were like,
that's toxic to people who were pussies and sucked at everything. Okay,
but like
you're looking at it the wrong way in my opinion, because you can't change it, you can't erase it, and it's not going anywhere. You might as well facilitate like the most positive way about it. So do that. Don't look at it toxically. I've also said that you have a lot of really interesting tattoos. I kind of want to talk about those. Yeah,
I'm down. I'm always collecting.
The tooth one. I love a tooth one. Wait. I'm so mad. I literally wanted this. Hold on. Let me show you. I have a list of tattoos that I wanted, and I gotta tell you, I think one just like that is right around the corner of my notes here. That's so funny. That candle is amazing. I love that style. I like to draw things. Is that a tampon candle?
No, this is you're
never gonna look at it again the same now.
No, it was a candle. It was burning on both ends, and I asked for it to have one side extinguished as a reminder not to burn yourself out. Don't burn it. Be intentional with your time and energy.
I don't look at my calf when I think about burning myself out, though. No. Does that really come in handy?
It really does.
That's good.
I look back at it and think, No, the tooth is from Babes Right Out, which is an all-women's motorcycle camp out. My sister and I go every year.
That's super cool. What's the number on the tooth? What's that, 5?
Number 5. It was the 5th one that they had that year.
Oh, very cool.
That's so cool.
I'm so whenever envious of things like that.
Yeah, whenever we go, I try to get a tattoo there.
Is that a Love Potion number 9 next to it?
That is exactly what that is.
Nice. I don't know what Love Potion number 9 is, but I know what that is.
It's a great song.
Great song. Who's that by?
I have no idea.
Okay. Is it by a nice lady?
No, it's a dude.
Or something? Oh, then I have no idea.
Talks about the gypsy with the gold cap tooth.
Gypsy with... Okay. I know, why do I know that?
He whipped it up in her sink. She made him a Love Potion number 9. He went and he kissed a cop. He got busted. And the cop said, no more Love Potion number 9 for you, motherfucker.
I'm gonna have to research this one. Okay, look, toy vampire teeth right there, right next to the Dracula emoji.
Very
just
cool.
like that. I wanted those on me.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So mad. Guess I can't do those. So I instead of getting tattoos, I just write the tattoo idea down.
There you go.
And wait until I don't want it anymore,
yeah.
and then just backspace it and don't get it tattooed.
I just made an appointment yesterday.
Where you go?
fortified tattoo?
The Jameson Staggered.
and Chase.
And Chase. I don't know Chase.
Sarandon
Rose. I should have her on. She just started following me on Instagram.
She's badass.
I totally...
she's a very cool human.
Didn't like her for a stupid reason. Back when she worked at Lost Kings, there was this piercer there. Oh, this is a jealousy story.
Okay.
My girlfriend and her friend went and got their belly buttons pierced like real spontaneously one day, and everyone had a crush on the piercer there. Sam? Probably. I don't know. The piercer guy. He's from he's like from South Carolina, North Carolina. Had this real like sexy accent, and he was just like, just a fucking piercer, and was like casual, cool guy. And I was like, felt very threatened because everyone liked that. And I don't know if he was messaging her or she messaged him or tagged him or talked to him or something, but I had mentioned something about it, and I was just very jealous, and I was ranting about it. And I was in Lost Kings one day randomly, and she was working there behind the counter, and I just brought it up to her because I was like, oh yeah, he's Mr. fucking flirts with my girlfriend in front of me type of thing. And me being so arrogant, not even thinking like, she works with him, she's gonna go tell him about some douchebag that just walked in and told. I was like, she's not gonna like take my side on this. Right. So he ended up messaging me and confronting me about it. God, and I was like, I literally was just like, dude, seriously, I'm so sorry. Like, that's literally just my own fault. Like, I'm just, my ego got in the way. Like, it literally has nothing to do with you. Yeah. Or he's actually guilty and fuck him. But for that reason, I was like, who the fuck could? And I was like, the only person who could have said something was that Sarandon girl. So I was like, fuck her. So I just never, like, she's always been a friend in social circles. Yeah. And then I was just like, nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to be your friend for whatever reason. And then I finally just got over it because I was like, that was so long ago. I don't even give a shit. Now I'm probably like, hell yeah, did you flirt with the piercer? Am I going to get a free nipple piercing out of this? Like, what's the, totally different mindset about it now. So. No,
Sarandon's a gem. I'm a big fan. Another golden
I'd love to have
human.
her on the podcast. I was going to ask her recently, and then someone else too. Haley Kennedy, she tattoos and solving. Yeah,
she did. I have a lobster smoking a joint tattooed on my leg.
That's really cool. Do you have a picture of it?
I don't.
You can show it to me later. I'll ask later.
And then, so she did that one, and then she also did a dagger that I have on the side of my leg too.
I want to say I asked Jameson to be on a podcast or mention something about it, like pre-pandemic, long ass time ago.
This is one of those collages that I do like.
That's really cool. I like that. I like the
so not my tattoo
fish going against the grain.
Yeah. But no, I'm here for all the tattoos. So this tattoo idea that I made an appointment for is I'm getting a giant mountain lion tattooed across my whole stomach.
That's fucking badass.
I'm really excited
about
it.
Tattoos are so cool.
I'm really
so
stoked.
Fucking like stoked on people who get stomach tattoos.
And everyone's
very
like,
jealous.
well, if you ever get pregnant, it's gonna get destroyed. And I'm like, well,
that's not all, bitch.
Yeah. well, so it goes. It's fine.
So it goes. I know. I love people who are just like,
my body's gonna be weird.
I don't want to look at your destroyed tattoo later.
My body's gonna be weird and wrinkly.
You're probably not even gonna see it.
That's how it goes.
Like, have you seen pussies? They're weird.
Everything. It's all weird. Yeah, bodies are weird.
Bodies are very weird. I enjoy them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I think I've seen people just overdo it on tattoos too early, and I'm like, you idiot. You're gonna be 30 and you're gonna go, oh, I wish I had a single space to get tattooed. Fucking idiots.
Do you have any tattoos that you regret? Or do you?
No, I don't mind them all. I like the ones I'm showing you none. I'm a blank arm right now. I regret more of like, I think the biggest regret I have for here is I thought I was going to get so tattooed that I put a tattoo too close to another one too early, because I was like, I want to save the rest of this for something else.
Save the canvas.
So now it looks it's in context and it doesn't make sense. So close to another one. Just doesn't make sense. It's the number 138 next to my AC/DC tattoo.
Yep.
And it was done by a friend, which I liked, and did it super quick. It was really nice, and I think I gave him a pair of jeans for it or something, and it shouldn't be there. It's a Misfits song next to an AC/DC tattoo. Doesn't fucking make any sense, and I hate it. And that's the biggest goddamn gripe I have with all my tattoos is I wish that one was gone, and then I wish this one was somewhere else. And It's because it's like, that's cool, and I like that, but I wish it was gone. I almost thought about getting it covered up too.
Really?
So I got it when me and Kylie were like broken up for a spell, and it was like this girl I was seeing like paid for it. And she said she was going to get a tattoo and didn't. And then I was already getting one. And she's like, well, actually, since I said I was going to pay for the tattoos, can you pay me back? And we were both drunk. And I was like, yeah, totally. I never did, because we ended up fucking not, being
what
together.
Is
it just says it's bitter in a coffin. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
Not really.
Well, the things we adorn ourselves with, that we choose to have on our bodies forever, and the mental states that we're in when we make these choices are interesting.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to get a tattoo, because like I don't want to look back and be like, God, what a moron.
But you know what? Some of those tattoos I feel like are so my cool, favorite.
Like, seriously, like you have such a great collection of tattoos. Like I am not mad at yours whatsoever.
Do I have any? Oh, well, this is a matching tattoo that I have with my ex. So that one
that's cool though, because it doesn't even look like it is contextual in a
you wouldn't know that
partnership.
So it was funny when we broke up. He's all, I'm not gonna get it covered up. I'm like, good for you.
Yeah, it's
Make
a
your choices.
cool thing.
Whatever you gotta do.
That one's cool. I like that. Is it a bee?
It is. It's a carpenter bee.
Carpenter bee.
A lot of people think it's a fly. It kind of looks like a fly.
Is it because there's not like a discoloration for the abdomen where the lines and a bee go?
I've tried to figure it out.
It does look like a fly. It looks like a fly from here. I'm on board with him. It looks like a fly from here.
It looks more like a fly.
I drew a fly on Kylie yesterday. It looked exactly like that.
Yeah. You're a damn good artist then. Yeah, no, but I think I'm not sure. It maybe needed another set of wings. It's a weird bee. The carpenter bee is kind of a weird bee.
Maybe throw some color in there. It'll be all right.
Oh, no color for me.
You don't want any color?
No color.
Good for you.
I'm consistent.
I don't mind.
Do you only have the red?
There used to be some yellow in the AC/DC in the lightning bolt, and I think there was actually, that's crazy. That used to literally be a yellow lightning bolt.
Really?
It's a fucking 10-year-old tattoo now.
You can't tell at all.
I know, isn't that crazy? I remember a couple years ago when I was like, oh yeah, you could tell. Now it's like
no idea.
Was never yellow there. Blows my mind.
Very interesting.
I don't give a fuck about color. Color's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I do appreciate the no color vibe. Kylie really wanted to stick to a no color. And then she got a color tattoo and she hates it.
Oh no.
Yeah, she wants it gone. She wants it removed so bad. And it's like a big, hard one to get, many sessions of removal. So it was a cover up, and she wants to get the cover up removed too.
Damn it.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
Poor girl. I hope that I can, maybe that's what I'll do. Like get her like a appointment for removal.
There you go.
Pay for a session.
A very intentional and kind gift.
Thank you. I know she'll probably not listen to this by the time our anniversary is next Monday. So close to Valentine's Day. I have to give this chick gifts 2 days. Fucking.
I'm obsessed with Valentine's Day. I think it's the most fun.
I really like that Valentine's Day movie, the ensemble cast one. Oh yeah, you don't watch a lot of movies because you're homeschooled.
This is actually. Did I ask you the question about the aliens in movies?
Yeah, if aliens came to Earth, what movies did you show me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I was like, there's a lot of white people movies on here.
There were a lot of white.
I was like, you guys need some culture here. You guys, there's some really good movies. Juice wasn't on there, and it was kind of silly.
Yeah, I guess if anyone has any movies. So the question is, if aliens came down to Earth tomorrow, what movies would you show them to teach them about the human experience? I'd be interested to see what people would say.
I'd show them Under the Skin.
Under the Skin.
It's a movie about an alien who comes to Earth and ends up getting fucking killed by humans.
You don't want to show them that movie.
I do. I go, watch it, bitch. This is what happens if you go around killing people, they're gonna fucking kill you back. Don't do that. That's what I'd show them.
Yeah, you do straight to intimidation tactics.
No, it's just more just setting the tone. Like wishing someone a safe new year when you hate them.
Oh.
You be safe out there this year.
Safe.
Just something that's laconic enough to scare them.
The movie that I put on there was The Diving Bell and the Butterfly.
Okay, I've never heard that.
It's a fantastic movie about a guy who has a stroke, and it's just a very deep, interesting movie. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. So I feel like that's very indicative of human experience and relationships and
it is. To me, when I first read that, I was like, this is a silly list. But then I remembered how much I really enjoyed that movie and how much people actually enjoy that movie. And it is not, it's one of those things that may be cliche, but cliches are correct often. Yes. And that's what I can appreciate about that.
So many interesting. If you were to have a 2-hour time slot to make any movie or tell any story, what would be the story that you would tell?
That's a really great question. Wait, talk real quick.
Ta-da.
Okay, I'll make sure your mic's picking up. 2-hour time slot?
Yeah, you've got a 2-hour time slot to tell any story that is going to be watched by people. What is it that you're trying to convey?
I have to probably have a lot of dead air on this mic to think about that. I don't know if I could come up with an answer that's happily... Your glasses make a shadow that looks like boobies and nipples on it right now. Let me take a picture to show you what I mean. It's fucking hilarious. Look down slightly. There we go. Okay, let me show you. This is ADD piercing through the medication walls here. So if you look at the shadow on your eyes, it looks like tits.
Maybe
it did perfectly.
You're
when
like,
I saw it.
yes, that's so funny.
Yeah, I don't know if that means I'm thirsty or what. I have no idea.
Maybe.
I have water here.
Like
2 hours. Probably. I'd probably show tell a story about a person who lives and needs to conclude how to get away with make the perfect murder and show the human side of the person and how careful they are to choose the correct person. Like, I love that show Dexter. One of my
I love Dexter.
favorite shows ever. I watch it every night, running through it again, and he kills people and he chooses them, and it's very like accepted, and that's the formula of the show. And a TV show, they only have a little bit, but people like him aren't real. People like you and I are real. Like, if you had to go through your whole life, through partnership, through polyamory, through living in Sacramento and here, and and being inspired by your cousin, but this whole time you were trying to figure out how to plan the perfect murder for someone who actually deserves it, like a big child rapist or a serial killer or someone who gotten away with something because of some faulty evidence or anything like that. And I'd want to watch the story of it working out or not working out, but essentially just what someone would have to go through, like secretly having to plan this fucking murder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It would be very interesting.
Yeah, because also people get away with murder not planning it whatsoever, and they just do drive-bys and get shot, and they don't never catches them. Yeah. It's totally innocuous sometimes. Also, side note, shell casings go fucking everywhere. I was shooting on Friday, and I went to go pick some of them up, and I was like, I don't know where the goddamn hell these things went.
They're just gone.
They're fucking flying all over the place. Yeah. Huh. I mean, they're not all of them gone. There's definitely a bunch on the ground, but I wanted to collect some because it was the first time I went shooting in a long time, and I shot a couple.
So you're saying chloroform is the way to go?
Maybe. I don't know. How would you kill someone?
If I were to kill somebody?
Yeah. What would be the method?
Well, I'm trying to think, how do I make this sound like I haven't thought about this extensively? No, I'm just kidding.
I think only normal people have thought about this. If people haven't thought about this, I don't trust them. This looks like a cool tattoo right here.
Yeah, that's that was after a shrooms trip.
Wow.
Up in Big Sur.
Oh shit. Look at that.
And
bunch of snake. What is that? A hare with a bunch of snakes?
Yeah, it's like a rabbit.
That's crazy.
With two black snakes.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was a fun shrooms trip. It was two of my siblings and I in Big Sur on the beach, just on shrooms.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Awesome.
I haven't had a full shrooms trip. I've only microdosed, but I've done a lot of acid.
Yeah. I've never done acid. I think it scares me a little bit.
Yeah, it should.
Yeah.
I feel like shrooms is like the Mexican Coke that has the real sugar, and then acid's like the regular Coke with the high fructose corn syrup in it. I think that's a great way to put it.
But okay, so if I was to kill somebody, they say women do more poisoning. And
they do.
I definitely feel like that would be the easiest way. But So when I first moved here, I was going on a ton of dates, and I always take people on hikes because I want to be able to see it, like, how do you handle yourself outside?
Yeah, you're gonna be a sweaty, bitchy mess the whole time.
Do you know what clothes you need to wear? Are you prepared? Are you
just gonna try to dress hot for our date hiking? You asshole.
But so I was taking people on hikes a lot, and I love going on night hikes. And
you already sound like a serial killer. Are you shitting me? I love going on night hikes because those bodies are gone and now in season.
I have had a lot of people be like, "Are you gonna kill me out here?" And I'm like, "Nope." So that would probably be.
If I was taking someone on a night hike, I would either be murdering them or fucking them.
This is like a first date, and I'm like, "Let's go."
Even a first date, like if we're going on a hike at night, someone's dick's getting sucked. Are you shitting me?
No. I'm such a prude sometimes.
Wild. There's nothing wrong with being a prude. I think it is highly underrated.
Being a prude?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I really wish there was a pill I could take that could like just put all like sexualisms just on hold and just not have that be a part of my like motivation in life.
My thing is like, though, you like suck someone's dick and then you realize that you don't like them as a person.
Which is weird because
so, like, I have to get to know you first.
The like way my cum taste was gonna dictate that.
No, but like,
you know what I mean?
But seriously, like you have sex with somebody and then they're like, and then there's like a precedent that's set that like, okay, now we're gonna have more sex.
That's so weird. That's
and
so
it's like,
true.
But I don't actually want to spend any time with you or respect you as a human being, and I definitely don't want to have sexual intercourse with you.
That's true.
And it just makes it weird. So I feel like there's a lot, for me at least, it kind of is a little bit of a buzzkill because I'm like, I have to really decide that you're someone that I want to spend time with.
Yeah. How many times have you just had like a hookup or foreplay and you're like, I think you should stop now here. This was more than enough. We've gone too far. And then it happens again and you go, I should have stuck to my guns on that first one.
Should have cut this off a long time ago.
God damn it.
No, I've had a few. I'm really practicing setting boundaries. This is a new thing in my life.
Boundaries are the best.
They're the best.
I listened to this terrific podcast with Anthony Schultz and Whitney Cummings, and they spoke about boundaries, like even in relationships, and how
it's magic.
How magic it is. That's right. And it, one of them was like peeing in front of each other. It's like, stop doing that. Like, close the door. Like, have boundaries. Have things that make you sexy and mysterious to the person. And boundaries are one of those things where some people go, like, you know what I mean? Like, like you can be very comfortable and very like open and loose with people, and then when you set a boundary, it's like, oh, I have to respect that layer of you. Yeah. Or you disrespect the boundary, and then it's like, hey, asshole, now we got something. Right. So I think
that boundaries are how to best love yourself and best show other people how they can
respect you,
love and respect you.
How you respect you too. It's really important. I think boundaries are important with the amount of shit you're willing to take. I feel like to me, I need to start setting more boundaries in terms of how like my coworker talks to me that I don't get along with.
That's huge.
I did try
Good
to.
For you.
I confronted him about it. And I said, hey man, what's going on?
Yeah.
And I think it was really like, it was a boundary I set by doing that unintentionally, but it happened. And I think I'm glad it happened.
I'm trying to do that more at the bar. I a lot of times people will say shit to me that makes me very uncomfortable.
I've seen it happen, and I'm no offense, but you look like the person that's gonna say something. like, hey dude, watch it. And how about we stop there, bud? Yeah. Be like, actually,
that makes me really uncomfortable. And I think I've just been like, well, that's the job. You put up with it. Like,
and that's how I was too at my job. Where it's
I'm done. I'm over it.
Where I was like, you just got to be a man. You just got to suck it up. Stop being a little bitch.
Let it roll,
no high school drama bullshit. But it's like, wait, I'm not in high school, and this is drama happening, and this is bothering me. I'm going to be 30 in a few years. This is not okay. Yeah.
And it's just, I think that it's a way to respect yourself.
That's right. That's exactly right.
And it takes practice. It's like self-efficacy, which is the belief that you can do something. Yeah. The more that you respect yourself, the more that you're giving yourself the space to be like, you know what? No. Allowing that to just roll off my back is a self-betrayal. Yeah. And like, I can stick up for myself, and I can say, fuck off.
It's so empowering too. I think it's great
boundaries.
for your confidence.
The best thing.
I think it's really, really important for people's confidence. Because you have boundaries. When you have boundaries, you have discipline because you have to stick to the boundaries and someone else does. So you make a responsible person out of you and someone else. And then that way you can almost connect or convey to someone else that you respect yourself and they should respect that too.
Right.
Like it's a nice little communication tactic.
Well, you teach people how they can treat you.
You either tolerate or can be intolerant of how they treat you and how they respect you. And I think that you should not value yourself on how other people treat you. They should value you on how you treat you. Like, right. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think.
I didn't just shit a fart and fart a turd. What was it? Okay.
No, but it's true, and like you're the only one that can do that. Again, it's like that self-regulation, that self. You have to be the one to decide what is okay with you and what's not okay with you, and it's going to be dependent on yourself.
Is there anything better than just like shattering someone's expectations because of what you're not willing to tolerate?
Oh, it's interesting that you put it that way.
Well, I think people have expectations of a lot of people. We all do. We judge people and we have our knee-jerk reactions and expectations of this person or that person. Mm-hmm. And then they do something that commands your respect because it didn't meet your requirements or your expectations. So you go, okay, this is someone I have to be different with.
Yeah.
It's good.
That makes sense.
It's important.
Yeah.
I like that.
I think for me at the bar, I'm realizing that I'm getting practiced. I'm given an opportunity to radically practice boundary setting.
Yes. I love that. I think about the barriers you have to hurdle in life as the universe giving you practice and testing you and pop 100%. Quizzes on how you're going to organize a good life and good person.
Things were kind of coasting at the bar for a while, and then shit started getting, like, the last week or so. Shit, just a bunch of random weird ass shit started happening, and I was like, this is it. I'm being, like...
tested.
I'm being tested. Like, it's testing me to see,
quiz.
Like, okay.
This is where your fortitude comes in.
Yeah, are you gonna let it roll off your back? Are you gonna pretend like you don't care? Yeah. Or are you gonna say something? It's like, no, I'm gonna say something. Mm-hmm. Such a trip.
Yeah. And has that been... I hope that doesn't mean like with staff. People
No.
Okay, I was like,
not at all.
Oh no, is there trouble in paradise?
No.
We're talking about how good it is there.
Yeah, no, we're such a solid crew.
Very nice.
No, not at all.
Very cool.
Yep. Such a trip. Boundaries.
It's very good. I like boundaries. It's important.
It is. Well,
my friend. Well, what? Go ahead.
I was thinking I might have to bounce.
That's cool. Let's wrap it up. This has been a. Yeah, it's true.
It's Super Bowl, so I got to go head over to the bar.
All right, let's wrap it up. Sarah, this has been an absolute joy. Love to have you again on anytime, and I'll see you at the bar.
Yes, sounds good.
Bye.
Thank you.